good morning or good mid-morning or good evening, depending on where you are following us from. This is Nurturing Generations for Christ, a program that brought to you by Christian Learning Materials Center. And my name is Lucy, and I'm glad to be with you again. Today we are going to follow up on the introduction as we talked about discipling teens or teenagers last week. And I remember saying that to disciple teens, we need to take time and understand them. Because when we understand who they are, especially their developmental stages, we will be able to know where they are at and what they can understand at the time and what they are going through, what they need to learn at that particular moment. Because when we talk about developmental stages, remember when children are, for example, 4 to 6, they behave in a certain way. 7 to 9, they behave in a certain way. And 10 to 12, 13 to 15, as we continue, they behave in a certain way. And sometimes when we are teaching something, it is just the same principle that we are building up because their understanding, the way they comprehend things keeps on changing. And when it comes to teenagers, we need to be a little bit careful that we don't teach the same thing we taught them when they were around 4 to 6 the same way, And I remember we said that we need to know how teenagers, and when we talk about teenagers, we can say that they are all the teens from 13, let's say 13, 14, 15, going up, and let's say around 16 or 17, somewhere there. We need really to understand how they behave mentally, socially, because we said that, and emotionally. 3 areas, very critical. That's why we say discipling teenagers needs to, we need a holistic approach. When we talk about mentally, emotionally, socially, we are simply saying, spirit, soul, and body, all right? Therefore, we need to know how are they like, emotionally, and maybe just to shed some light what I mean when I say how are they emotionally, or how are they mentally, or are they socially, then we need to know, after we know, what should we do? And when we say how are they mentally, I want you to know when teenagers think about questions, mostly they learn from the point of why. That's why we need to be answering questions. When you are telling them something, they are wondering, why are you saying that? So we need to be able to explain to them why. So they think about hard questions. They also think about solving puzzles. Okay, and they use their minds. They think. That's why we need to know that teenagers think. And they do not really understand ideas easily from their experiences. They learn best Bible lessons when you apply that to their daily life. So when we disciple them, and just with a few things that I've talked about, as a disciple, when you understand where they are mentally, knowing that, as I said, they like to think about hard questions, solve puzzles, things like that. Now, as a discipler, or as the one who is discipling them, Remember to use many questions which make them think. They like using their head, you know. They will challenge you sometimes. So that's why you need to be as knowledgeable as you can, you know. So make sure you ask many questions. You use many questions that make them think, and lead them to discover Bible truths for themselves, because they think, you know, they are developing mentally. So lead them to discover Bible truths for themselves. Do not do all the talking and explaining. No, you know, interact, discuss. Teenagers love discussions. They will give you the ideas, you give them the ideas, you analyze things together. That's how they like learning. Then again, remember to relate Bible truths to life in a personal way. You see, because they want to know, how does this help me? You know, how is it contributing to my life? So using questions and sharing experiences. So share experiences, use questions, and then plan for them to discover the Bible truths in small groups. Remember, they like small groups where they discuss. You know, that's when it comes to understanding their mental development. As I said, mentally. Then number 2, when it comes to emotionally, because now you need to understand them emotionally, you see. You know, they change their emotions quickly. That's one of the things that you need to know. That's why we need to know, how do they do, you know, this thing of the emotions, because remember, teenagers, you see, they rarely, when it comes to their emotions, they rarely walk. And I think I said that in one of the discussions. They rarely walk in the middle of the road. It's like a pendulum swing. I said that. They are either down this way or down this way. They are never in the middle of the line, of the road sometimes. So they change their emotions quickly, you know. 1 minute they are very happy and very excited, and you are buddies, you are giving yourself high five. Now, the next minute, because of a small happening, just a small one, can you imagine? They are very sad, you know. So they often lack that that ability to control the expressions of their emotions. How they express the emotions, they're not able to control. You know, the way you, as a discipler, are able to know this is pissing me off, but you don't show, you know, you remain the same. No, when they are sad, they are sad. When they are happy, they are happy. And it's difficult to juggle between the two. It's like, you know, today they're in 1 minute they're very excited, the next minute they are very sad. You know, you don't know what happened. And I said it is just tickled by a small thing. And then you also need to know they feel unsafe in new situations. You see, they really feel unsafe. And they don't like being considered childish. That's one of the mistakes we make when we are discipling teenagers. We know they are children, but remember, you avoid that road because they don't like being considered as children. You know, sometimes it's difficult, but you really need to learn the script and know how it plays out, all right? So that when you are dealing with them, you know, I've watched this movie before. You see, I know how it can end. That now it can be very nice and we are happy. And because of just a small thing, they have switched, you know? So, as one, discipling them, do not expect them to act as adults. You will make a big mistake when you think because they are teenagers, then they are really adults. they will show you that they don't like being treated as children. But yourself, don't expect them or treat them, don't expect them to act as adults. They are not. Or older young people, they are not. So learn to accept each one as he is. Because some can behave maturer than others, but deal with each one of them as a person, as an individual. Don't mix them. You see, don't generalize them. And you as a leader or a discipler must be able to remain happy or content, happy and content, even in the face of the teenager's emotions. Don't be pushed to, to change. Don't change. Yourself, you are in a position to control your emotions. Them, they are not. So even if they get sad, please continue being happy, you see. So make sure they don't control your environment or control your emotions. Remain steady and stable. And because I just said they feel unsafe in new situations, please don't push them into new situations. If one is to be in a new situation, help them to know exactly what are we going to do, let them understand, prepare them. Don't just push them. I know we like surprises, but surprises are not for teenagers. You surprise them when they were just very happy. They get down and they are very sad. So that's why we explain everything, You remember the day you went with them to see with their grandmother and they looked like they were sick. It's just because you didn't explain to them and they found themselves in a new situation. So learn to prepare them, and so that they can know exactly where they're going and what do they expect, and again, what to do. Let them know that. So always try to understand their point of view. Be willing to tell them some of your difficult times as a teenager. We tend to think that our examples are not good, but that's what the teenagers are looking for. Let them know, you see, you were once a teenager. Your experience, what you experience at a certain time will be able to help a particular teenager, because what they are going through, is what you went through, isn't it? It's only that you might have gone through that in the village and they are going through the same in the city. That can only be the difference. But let them know, share your experiences with them, help them to seek comfort, and fellowship with the Lord. Now, when it comes to socially, how do they socialize? You need to understand that. I said if you don't understand, it's going to be rough on you. But when you understand, you know how to treat them. You know why they behave like this. You know why they do things like this. That's when you realize they were not strange beings. They are just normal as they can be. It's only that you didn't understand. Say, socially, they want to be accepted in a group. You remember the day you went home and you found your living room full of young people. It's like when I talk about young people, I'm talking about teens in this context, isn't it? You find the house was full and the TV was on, and when you just when you appeared and maybe you went to the kitchen, by the time you came back, there was nobody, Those things are not strange. They happen. Why? They want to be accepted in a group, so they don't want to be different from the others. That's why you find a certain time comes and they look like they are all in uniform. It's just because they like being accepted in a group, and they do not want to be different from others, of course, in dressing or in action. They look like they dress the same at a particular time and behave the same. This gives them feeling of safety. All right. Then they have strong feelings of loyalty to their groups. They tend to be loyal to their groups than their families. You know, that one doesn't make us feel very good. But I'm sure you know, many times you have asked your teen, can't you think for yourself? Why are you doing what your friends are doing? Why are you allowing them to influence you? No, it's a developmental stage. They feel really loyal to their friends. They believe what their friends are telling them other than what you as family are telling them or a discipler are telling them. And then sometimes they are really disappointed by those they formerly looked up to. As I had mentioned earlier, they look for models, you know, and they are looking for someone who they respect and who they follow. So as a discipler, can you be that person that they respect, they look up to, and keep at it, that they will not get disappointed? And of course, they usually, teenagers, you know, socially, they usually avoid conversation and activities with the opposite sex. That's why we tend sometimes they become very, you find that when boys are among girls and they are all teens, the boys tend to become very sheepish, you know. It's just because they get uncomfortable when they are with the other sex because they feel they do not know how to act. I'm sure you once got into that kind of confusion. It's only that you're wondering what is happening in your life. It was so confusing. You know, you don't know how to behave when you are a teenager, not now. Now you know. And then each may have a person, you know. Most of them, the teens, they have a person they secretly admire, you know, and they secretly like. And as they become older, they become more confident. So give them time. Don't push them. Don't rush them into becoming confident. Just create an environment that they will create their confidence. But just know that they can't skip. It's a developmental stage. Now, when you are discipling them, the things that you consider socially is that provide good Christian fellowship. Why? Because they like being in groups. They like their groups, you know. We call them cliques, but let's avoid cliques. Let's call them groups. You see, it's safer to call them groups. And I think that's the standard, you know. And then plan games and activities with these groups. Most of the time, as a discipler, you know, you need to get involved really, you know. Do they like groups? Yes, work with the groups. Plan activities, plan games, but make sure in that game, that activity that you are planning, there's a scripture that you are following that is leading them, you are teaching them through the game, through that activity, you see. And do not point out young person as different from his group. They like groups and they're loyal. I mean, they can work against you because you pinpointed one person as bad. So avoid those. Don't pinpoint any as good or bad. Don't get to that point, you see. And they don't like being separated from each other. So always teach them together. Let them learn together. And then help them at this stage, because they are socializing, help them to know Jesus is the only one who never fails, because they are expecting too much from you. They expect too much from the grown-ups. They get disappointed when we look like we are not, we are not up to it. But let them know that Jesus Christ is the only one who does not fail, and encourage them to look up to Jesus. You understand? Whoever fails them, sometimes we fail. Let them know sometimes human beings are limited, but when they look up to Jesus, it's the only one who does not fail, right? And to make sure that they look up unto him, and then they depend on him, for their safety and their example. All right? Of course, at one point, I didn't say that they want role models. You remember this on this platform. I remember I shared something about that. I said they love role models. You see, and that's why teens, especially boys, when you get into their room, you find they have stuck images, pictures, they have cut from the newspapers, they have cut from all the places. You see, the best footballer, the best dancer, the best rapper, those things they like. What are they looking for? It's a role model, you see. But bring out Jesus Christ, so that as much as they want somebody they can interact with, you see, above the person they can interact with, there's another superior being that never fails. You understand? That's all is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Let that concept sink into them. You see, that when you fail, they can turn to Jesus. You see, and then I'll help them to also to know that is the example that they can follow. And of course, when the temperatures don't allow, because there's a lot, there are a lot of changes happening into their bodies. That's why they tend to feel uncomfortable and they don't know how to behave with the opposite sex. There are sometimes you separate them, and there are times we push them together because they need to know how to interact and learn from each other. All that you are doing, please, as a discipler, model Christ. Model Jesus Christ. In talk, in deed, by the time even they realized what was happening, they will be able to pinpoint Jesus. They will be able to see Jesus in you, because you are the example that they are seeing. You see, the Jesus that you are talking about, believe him yourself, interact with him to help you, to grow you, to mold you, to be more like him, so that these teenagers know. You see, you are a great example. Every lesson we are teaching them, please, let's not teach them what we cannot do ourselves. Let's push ourselves, the Lord helping us, because we are a work of grace, to be able to behave, to be consistent in our behavior, in the way we live out life when we are dealing with these teenagers. And of course, when we are dealing with everybody else, but in this context, teenagers, because that sermon you are teaching them, the discipleship lesson, if we don't become it, it's going to be difficult for them to learn it. So having said that, I'm saying, remember, when you know how they behave mentally, you know that you need to be smart. You see, because they will ask you questions, so give them also many questions that will make them think. You see, even when you are giving them activities, there are games and puzzles that are going to engage them and engage their thinking. And remember, sometimes they ask questions to see how much you know. So don't take them very serious when they start asking you questions and you don't know. Don't feel bad. Go and prepare again and come back, you know. So emotionally, remember, deal with them with that understanding. So where they are emotionally. Don't go ahead or don't go back. They notice. And then socially, also remember, the group is very key, you see. And because sometimes, don't call it a gang, don't call it a gang, don't call it a clique, call it a group. You understand? That's the standard. You see, you can't create, there is no other way you can describe a group. But a gang, you can attach it with something. A clique, you can attach it with something. So just use a group and then get involved in every group. Appreciate the members of that group so that you know each one of them. It will help you to disciple them. Thank you very much. I think we'll keep on advancing this conversation because the issue of teenagers, it's a formation somewhere. You know, this is somebody who has reached a stage where they are transitioning, you know, to youth and adult. It's a little bit touchy, it's a little bit sensitive, but there's always a way out. Thank you very much. At CLMC, that's Christian Learning Materials for Children. We have materials to disciple teenagers. And these materials give you a very good, beginning, as in, where do you begin? You know, the things that I'm talking about. You know, the characteristics, just the way I'm just pinpointing here. And then we have lessons and, lay out. The aim is there, you know what to do. Kindly just grab a copy. We have different different books. We have It's Worth Waiting For. It's talking about teens and sexuality, you see. Because, as I said, when they start getting confused, not knowing how to behave with the opposite sex, they actually don't know, but they need to be taught. You find that's one of the books that can help sort out that confusion, you see. And then we have Making the Right Choices. You know, they are in the stage of making choices. We need to help them because making a choice is a skill. We need to help them, all right? Then we have squeezed into the mode that talks about peer pressure, talks about music. You know, they keep asking things like this. Is pop music good or bad? You know, they can only ask one question. Is it bad? You know where it begins. Is it bad? So at CLMC, we have books that are going to answer some of those issues that you don't know what to do and the teen doesn't know what to do. Kindly reach out. It can be used in your school. It can be used in the church. It can be used in the clubs, in the communities, and can be used in your family. CLMC, you are sorted out.